Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys Own Business is produced by Turnkey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, welcome back, Nice Guy community. Meet Nicole Eckels. She is the founder and CEO of Glasshouse Fragrances, a New Yorker who went from making candles in her kitchen to building a global fragrance brand with a seriously devoted fan base. I mean, we're talking cult-like following here. Nicole followed her own yellow brick road, and she's created a worldwide brand from New York City to Sydney, Australia. I'm assuming it's Sydney, not Ohio. It's in Australia. Yeah. And created a company built on one big idea: scent should do more than smell good. And I'm loving where we're heading between my facial products and my good smells. I love this. It should be able to take you anywhere. Fragrances should take you anywhere. Part science, part artistry, and part pure magic. Glasshouse Fragrances has spent the last 20 years turning candles and fragrances into full-on emotional experiences. Today, Nicole joins us and talks to the nice guys, talk about entrepreneurship, creativity, reinvention, and how to build a $50 million brand that people become obsessed with. I am very excited. I don't know why I'm so excited to talk good smells, Nicole, but I am ready to talk. Let's do it. Welcome to the nice guys.
Doug, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for that introduction.
I'm happy to have you here. And so let me start here. How did you build such a big brand? And now when I first connected with you, you said we are newer in the U.S. So did you built it outside the U.S. and are introducing it usually the other way around oftentimes?
That's right.
So talk about it.
That's right. Well, first of all, not to brag, we're much larger than 50 million at this point. So we're the largest fragrance brand in the Southern Hemisphere. Wow. And when I say Southern Hemisphere, that brings me to Australia. So I founded Glasshouse in Australia, in Sydney. I moved there when I was 32, looking for a different life. My son was 12. I was living in New York City. It was tough living. I was worried about him and when he got a bit older, and I was just working all the time, and it was really hard. And so I had this opportunity to go to Sydney. Long story short, I ended up there. And I walked into a store to buy product. And Sydney, for those of you who haven't been, it feels really urban and buzzy and exciting and fresh and energetic, just like New York City. Yeah. But the shopping and the retail was just woeful. I walked in and I said, where's all this stuff? Like, I love this town, but I can't be anywhere where I can't buy beautiful scents or makeup or personal care products. And it was then that I decided, okay, there's something in this and I'm going to start my own fragrance brand because I'd always wanted to do it. And that's where I found an opportunity to do it.
I think about all of the memories that I have going back to camp days and my early podcasting experience, even when I went into a recording studio to record a book that I had written 11 years ago. Every one of those experiences involves a smell. You know, whether it's the smell of the camp in the wood shop or silver shop, or working in a mechanic's shop and smelling the oil. I mean, I know that that's not a pleasant smell necessarily, but it is a smell that brings back and evokes memories. Was that a part of it for you, or were you always fascinated with fragrances, or how did the smell business get into your olfactory sense?
Well, you just hit the nail on the head when you talk about fragrance. It is, I believe, one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful senses that you have. And it goes on in the background and we know it's there. It triggers memory. It triggers all kinds of things. And it's super powerful. And I don't feel like we give it enough credit for what it can do for us. And to your point, I had the most amazing memories of scent. Mm-hmm. Everything, even the smell of gasoline, to your point.
Right.
Like that was, we're going out today. My dad would take us out. We're going to the fair or something fabulous and significant to me. And we would get gas. And I just love that smell. So it's, it's very powerful. And so no scent is better. Some scent is better than no scent at all. I mean, you really do need it in your life. It does more than just smell good. it does a lot more than that. And I want to wield that power.
And it's interesting also, as much as it can evoke positive emotions, there are smells, even pleasant smells, that could evoke negative emotions as well. I think about
X.
yeah, I think about the perfume that my ex-wife wore, or ex-girlfriend have worn, and I smell that and I'm like, there goes that heartache all over again. But it's almost like it's a pleasant smell but an unpleasant memory. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, and music does that too.
Yeah.
And I think humans, we understand that a bit more. We know how to use that. We're getting ready for a big night out. We're ready to have a party. We can put on music that does those things that make us feel better, that get us pumped up, whatever we're trying to do. Music does that. Scent does that too. We just don't pay attention to it enough.
One of the
And
things, oh, sorry, go ahead. You go ahead.
no, 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 go ahead.
I was just going to ask you just something about, I was reading your website as I was doing research for this, when your team connected your idea of coming on the show with me, and I thought about these things called destination fragrances. And I went to your website and I'm noticing that a number of your fragrances, maybe all of them for that matter, but a number of your fragrances have the name of a city that it might smell like, or a name of a region that it smells like. I never really thought about it that way, but yeah, there are parts of the world that smell differently because of spices, because of seasoning, for any number of reasons. Is that something that you created, or that you filled in a white space that nobody else was really working within?
Well, no one was doing that at the time. And one of the things that my customer loves is travel, experience, glamour. And we all have, many of us have this desire to experience life and go on these beautiful destinations, exotic destinations, but we don't have time and we don't have the money, or we don't have some reason. There's something holding us back. So I thought, why can't I evoke that feeling of what that could be like through scent to transport someone to these places? And that's kind of how the idea was born. And I would say that probably 80% of our fragrances are named after places.
Yeah.
Some are conceptual, like rendezvous. That is also a place or a thing could happen, but it's not necessarily a geographical destination.
So you started Glasshouse in your kitchen as a single mom in a new country. So what
Yes.
gave you really the confidence to be able, and I'm not saying this from any negative perspective, those things are, my mom was a single mom, and I could imagine her going to work every day and just busting her hump just to make sure that she put food on the table. You started a business in a new country with a new kid, all of these things coming together. How did you know you had your hands on the right stuff, or at what point did you know you had your hands on the right stuff, other than just a hope and a prayer?
Well, when I first started, I was doing them out of my kitchen, and that was low capital and it was small scale and it was relatively easy to do. I was working a full-time job, so I kind of fitted it on the side. When I knew that I needed to stop doing everything else and focus on only this was once I managed to get a retailer to try and put these products in the store.
Hmm.
And they sold out immediately.
Wow.
And I knew I was onto something. And I said, I am no longer going to go into an office every day and focus on building someone else's business when I can build my own now. And that was really the turning point for me to say, okay, it's time to get serious. And this is an idea. And also being American played a huge role in this,
Hmm.
because Australians aren't as capitalistic, I would say, as Americans are. They're just not. And but in my mind, I had just moved there and I said, "Oh my God, this is such a white space. Everybody could see that, like, this is so obvious. If I don't quickly do this, someone else is going to do it." In fact, I used to sit there and feel like there were people plotting in their living room at that very moment to start the same thing I was trying to
Right.
start. And
Right.
I was so protective of my idea. I'd want to talk about it, but I couldn't. And it was just really funny. And there was one person I was talking to about it, but I couldn't tell him the idea. And then I'd tell him a little more. And then when I saw him the next time, I'd tell him a little more. And I knew he was interested in business, and I knew he had some resource that he could give to me
Yeah.
to do this if we wanted to do this together. And that was my angel investor.
Isn't
And
that
he's
great?
still in the business.
How great is that? So a good partnership was made right out of that initial relationship that you guys have built.
Yeah, it was because I didn't have much of a network. I was in a new country. All of my contacts were here, but I was onto something. And, when you get into personal care and candles and home fragrance and those sort of products, candles are deceivingly easy. People look at them and think, "Oh, anyone can, make a candle. I'll just pour for." They're one of the hardest things to make.
Really?
Hardest things to make. But most people will go and they'll ring up a contract manufacturer and do these things. That those options weren't open to me. So
Mm,
I had to figure out not only how to build a brand, but also build a factory and be on the manufacturing side and all of that. And now we have 230 people and we're global and growing fast and we're still doing it that way. And it's some days it's like you wake up, you're like, oh my God. But this is my life's work. I love it. I really believe we're changing lives through fragrance. And actually, I know we are
that's
because I
great.
get letters from people and I get calls from people all the time. And we have fan groups and you can go onto eBay and find someone selling an old limited edition for $1,000. Like it matters. It matters. And that makes me feel really great.
I really do. I love your origin story. I love the journey that you've been on, and I love the way that you share this story. I think about the companies that create products, and the products are as only as good as the customers that, or the clients, or the people, the community that buys them. And one of the things that kept appearing over and over again was a cult-like following. So I'm really curious, was that by design? Did that just happen to, everybody wants to be like you think about companies like Apple or Ritz Carlton or Netflix or you think about those brands that are just, people will go out of their way to not buy somebody else's product and they want to buy your product. Was that by design?
I would like to take full credit for it and say, yes, it was. I knew exactly what I was doing, but that's not the case. I, a lot of entrepreneurs will start business with a mathematical formula, planning backwards to sell it in 5 years, right? So they
Right, right.
know what their margin needs to look like, they know what their EBITDA and so on. I didn't know any of that. All I knew is that I am one of the most difficult customers to please on the planet. And if I could produce goods that I thought were really good and I loved, then I figured I know most people will like it too. I know that sounds egotistical, full of myself, but it's true. I'm so difficult. And I use everything. I'm a heavy user of beauty. I have always been. I'm the girl that if you want to know the best face cream or hair care or candle fragrance, you ask me because I'll tell you because I use it all and I buy it all. And so I thought, I'm just going to focus on making the world's best product because that's all I can manage. I don't understand the other stuff, but I can do that. And that is what I did. And I think that's the key to success for us because people that were also equally difficult to please really thought, wow, this is a great product. And when they try to swap us out for something else or try something else, they really just don't have the same experience. They come back again and back again. And then it's kind of like you get to the point, so actually, why should I buy anything else? I just love this and it never lets me down. And everything else, I'm taking a risk and maybe wasting a bit of money. And I don't want to do that.
When I read about your products, I see words like premium, luxury, excess. Not excess in a negative way,
Yeah.
but it's hard to create. It's hard to break into that market if you're not a name brand in something else that also created a luxury fragrance. Tell me how, again, was it by design? Was it by pricing? Was it through necessity? Is it just how it happened to be? Would you be open to, if Walmart came to you and said, I want to carry your products, would you be open to that? Or are you someone that is, I only want to be in Saks or I only want to be in Nordstrom's? Tell me about your model.
Well, a lot of that has to do with pricing. We're squarely positioned in sort of a prestige place, especially here in the USA.
Yeah.
In Australia, when I started, we created the scented category for candles. They didn't exist before us. So we are a household name there by far. And whether you're middle class or high end, everyone is buying Glasshouse in Australia. We are we're part of the fabric. In this market, we're definitely a prestige brand because there's so much more here.
Mm.
You can go down to the Marshalls or the Home Goods or TJ Maxx or whatever, or Bath and Body Works, and you can buy a candle and it's pretty good for 20 bucks and it's basic and you put it out and it's fine.
Right.
But if you want to have a great experience and you want to use a fragrance that's unique and lasting and full and fills the room and burns beautifully, then you would buy ours. And because of all of those things and the way we hand make a lot of our products, it costs more money to produce that way. So even if I wanted to go to Walmart, which I don't, sorry, Walmart, if you're
That's
listening.
okay. That's all right. No, that's all right.
This is not a price point for that customer.
Right.
Because it's that wouldn't fit within their assortment. So by very virtue of the price point of our products, that's why we're selling in more premium retailers where someone's very happy to pay $50 for a very big candle. Like it is very good value for what it is compared to some of the luxury offers. But it's great and it's worth it. And so this is price positioning 101 and it has a lot to do with that.
Uh, how do you, in a world that's completely overloaded by products and marketing noise, how do you create an experience that still feels personal and aspirational and fits into all of the things that you want it to fit into? It sounds like you have an amazing business model that you created in Australia that you brought over here to the United States. But how do you break through in an environment that's as crowded as it is here?
Well, that question is such a good one because when I came over here, it was during COVID, and I came over. So I lived full time in Australia for 15 years. And I used to come home every Christmas. And the Christmas of 2020, I came home and the flight was canceled. And then it was canceled again, and then it was canceled again because Australia was on full lockdown. And I literally couldn't get home. So I thought, you know what? I really miss the States. I miss my family here. And I still hadn't found a brand here that I thought was as Glasshouse or as good as what our product is. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to start Glasshouse here. And I thought I was taking the biggest, and I was taking a big risk because it's expensive to break into a new market. It's a huge job. But I had built a brand from the ground up in another market. So I understood kind of how to do it. And I said, I'm going to take it on in the US. I can't believe how well we're doing. Doug, it's insane because this is the largest home fragrance market in the world, this one. And we are killing it here. And so then I asked myself, why is that? Why is that? We have a very fresh perspective, the way our packaging looks, the way our fragrances smell. I haven't been paying attention to what other brands are doing and what their packaging look like or I don't care.
Right.
So we come in here and we're doing what we do and it's different and it's exciting. And if you're buying a discretionary product like what we sell, you want that product to deliver joy and experience. You don't buy it because you have to. It's not paper towel. So why not us? And so I'm very excited because that's what's happening. Very proud of it. I have the most incredible team. And I have to give a shout out to great retail partners. Our Bloomingdale's partner, they're the most supportive, wonderful people. They just believe in brands that are doing special things and they get behind them. And it makes such a difference. So I can't tell you what the secret sauce is, but it comes down to a different perspective. We're the first brand that is heavily skewed to home fragrance that treats it like beauty and fashion. We're the first ones to do that. Like everything's about glamour, everything's about trend, everything's about excitement and taking you somewhere and transporting you. It's not just a functional thing. And I think our customers are noticing.
Couple things. I would love to be a fly on the wall and I love how you call, Bloomingdale's or one of the luxury brands. I love that it's a partnership. It's not I'm not a vendor supplying a product to a buyer. It is a partnership. I'd love to be a fly on the wall during those conversations that you have with a buyer because it sounds like you are having a partnership conversation. You're talking about what this product represents and they're buying into the idea that you are quote unquote selling them, not you're not selling, you're a partner with them. How do those conversations talk to our entrepreneur audience that are out there that are struggling with, fuck, anybody that's got a check is a client. And I'm like, no,
Oh,
no,
no, no, no, no,
that's not
no.
who you want, right?
I've realized that I'm a frustrated retailer. So when I started, I had these illusions of grandeur of creating these amazing experiences in omnicolor because I could see it. But I didn't have stores, right? So I had to rely on a retailer to help do that. My customer is not the retailer. It's not my customer. My customer is the consumer that
Hmm.
is going into that retailer and buying the product that's benefiting us both.
Hmm.
We are partners in profit. So I am never desperate because if that retail partner won't doesn't see the value or
Right.
and initially they're not going to, right? But they have to believe that you've got the goods to get to where they need to be, which is whatever revenue they're expecting from the thing.
Right.
And so understanding what they're looking for in terms of size of prize, what categories they're missing, what their pain points are is really important and how you can work in partnership with them to try to plug some of those holes. But ultimately, they are your partner and you are working together, partners in profit, to attract and retain a consumer. That's how it works. That's the facts. So whether or not,
Right.
however it gets spinned, that's what's going on here.
I've had a chance to talk to some heavy hitters in the world of services, products, money management, whatever it is, from Grant Cardone to Gary Vee to Ariana Huffington. And one of the things that I find is the common element, and you have this common element that they all have, is your passion for what you're doing. It's not just about it's not, you're not chasing money. It is about bringing a quality product to a marketplace to be as excited for that buyer as you are for the company owner. And I really feel like there is a lot of that ingrained in the fabric of what you bring to your company. How do you translate that to 200 plus people that work for your company that come and do their job? You have to have a culture that's set up that is second to none, because you've got to get them into that same mindset that you're in as the company owner. Is that fair?
It will, you do. And I think the hardest part of business is that piece because it's tough, right? Especially when you have a lot of people involved. But I think the bottom line is you can't fake it. People aren't stupid.
Right.
And you either are authentic, you really do genuinely want the best for your product and your people, or you don't. And you're secretly just trying to make a lot of money and run out of there or whatever you're trying to do. People can tell. But at the end of the day, they want safety. They want purpose. They want a purpose they believe in. And it does help that I'm quite excited and passionate about my business. I have never been more excited about our future. I tell them that all the time. I mean it. It's true.
Right.
And I care. I care immensely about not only what I do every day, but them. I've always had this view that we all spend most of our time at work. I know I do. And if you don't love it and you're not engaged and motivated, and you don't want to be there and you're not enjoying yourself, what's the point? We've got one short, sweet life. So I try to bring that into the business. It's really tough. I mean, we're global now. I'm splitting my time between Sydney and New York, which sounds very glamorous, and it is, but it's also exhausting. And it comes with its own challenges, like getting to be with my people and
Mm.
work with them every single day. So that's created some fractures that I've had to try to figure out. But authenticity and actually caring for me, and then scaling well, that's all process and people. It's just good people, good process
Right.
and making sure. I think the last thing is very clearly articulating where you're going, how long you want that to take, who's doing what, so everyone can just get on with it and use their time and talent to do it, because I certainly can't do their job for them and I certainly can't micromanage. I won't get anything done.
What's the hope? Where do you head from here? You've built this for 20 plus years doing this. You started in a kitchen. You now are a global brand. You're doing a huge amount of business every year. What comes next for you? What would, if you had to blue sky it, what would that blue sky look like?
I set out to be the first Australian, even though I'm like clearly American. I set out, but I'm American Australian now. I have two passports. I set out to be the first global heavy hitting Australian fragrance brand. That is the journey we're on. I'm going to get there. We're going to get there. And the big part of our future is our stunning eau de parfums, which we're launching more and more of because especially here in the US, everybody loves them. So yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm on the hustle and I love it.
From a personal perspective, who inspired you? I think about my dad. I mean, he was my business inspiration. Horrible dad, and he would say that too. And unfortunately, we lost him back in '96. But horrible dad, great business guy. I always think, what would my dad do in this particular situation?
That's
Who's that? What's
wonderful.
that question that keeps going through? Like, who are you trying to please, make happy? Channel so that you make the right decisions as you go about your day to day.
Oh goodness, I have so many people that I turn to. One of the people I turn to who I just adore and I'm so lucky to have in my business is my chairman, Stephen Heath. He's brilliant and I've learned so much from him and I continue to learn from him. I also have, the Joe Obvious big people that I look at, like Steve Jobs. I'm like, oh God, he's so brilliant. And my mom too, she was, you know, I didn't understand it back then. She's now in her 80s, but such a powerhouse. And she had never managed to build a big business, but if it was a different time, I think she probably could have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's just so sassy and, you know, I love that about her. I
My
love strong women, but I love women that are without a chip on their shoulder.
Agreed. Agreed. And men for that matter. I hate men that come into an environment feeling entitled because they're tall and they're good looking and they have an MBA. They feel like they're entitled to success, and fuck it, work for make it work.
Yeah,
You can't expect it to come to you. Make it, you do the work, do the
that's
hustle,
right.
man, do the hustle. Okay, where do we want to send our listeners to? And for those of you that are out there listening, this was your opportunity to either grab a pencil or a piece of paper or whatever you're writing with, or just click the link in the show notes. We'll make sure we put a link to Nicole's site directly on the show notes. But what do we want people to do as a result of listening to this episode?
Well, we don't want to be shameless advertisers, but of course are welcome to visit our website or Bloomingdale's or Nordstrom for that matter and check us out and see what we're all about. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful product. You won't be disappointed.
And for the guys that are in our audience, there are men's products on Nicole's site also. So make sure you take a moment and check out those products as well. But don't forget the women in your lives, or the mostly feminine males, just like me. I still like some of the good smells. Some
We
of the
call that
candles.
metrosexual.
Yeah, metrosexual.
Metrosexual.
Same thing. You would much more easily find me at a mall on a Sunday than watching a football game. So that's totally fine. Make sure you take a moment, go over to Nicole's site and check out all the products that she has. Nicole, thank you so much for sharing your message, your inspiration, and your journey with us in our Nice Guy community today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice or the power of a good olfactory scent. Special thanks to Nicole Eckels. All of our information, including access to our website, will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Friday advice and Tuesday interviews with people far more interesting than they are. Fill up your week with the nice guys. Have fun storming the castle.